So here we are. We are now in Matthew 17. Some pretty cool stuff in this chapter. Now, after 6 days, Jesus took Peter, James, and John, his brother, and led them up on a high mountain by themselves. And he was transfigured before them. His face shone like the sun, and his clothes became as white as light. This is neat. This is really cool. And behold, Moses and Elijah appeared to them, talking with him. Then Peter answered and said to Jesus, Lord, it is good for us to be here. If you wish, let us make there 3 tabernacles, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. While he was still speaking, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them, and suddenly a voice came out of the cloud saying, This is my beloved Son, in whom I'm well pleased. Hear him. Remember, he said that before when Jesus was baptized. And then the disciples heard it, and they fell on their faces and were greatly afraid. But Jesus came and touched them and said, Arise, do not be afraid. When they lifted up their eyes, they saw no one but Jesus only. There's so many interesting things here. So, I just want to go through a couple little notes that I have here. Moses and Elijah came to him. Now, some people think that these are the 2 witnesses that are going to come when during the tribulation time. There's going to be 2 witnesses, and some people think that it's these 2. And then this is my beloved Son, that the Lord said, he makes these announcements. Twice he made it, once at his baptism and once at this transfiguration. The Lord said, this is my beloved Son, and he revealed it to these 3 here, Peter, James, and John. Interestingly, he did not reveal it to all of the disciples, but those 3, and they fell on their faces and they're afraid. Now, I imagine if I was in a similar situation and I saw a person who became blindingly white and shining, and then 2 people that I knew had been gone for a very long time came up to them and they started having a conversation in front of me, and then a voice out of nowhere starts saying, this is my beloved Son, I would probably fall on the ground too. As a matter of fact, that would probably be the end of me. I would be dead right there. And then another interesting thing that I noted here, it says that they were talking. The 3 of them were talking. What were they talking about? We don't know. Were they talking about him getting ready for his crucifixion? Were they talking about when he comes back again, his second coming? Were they talking about getting ready for the upcoming festival, because the Festival of Tabernacles was coming. That's why they were talking about building tabernacles for them. Were they talking about the different disciples? Were they telling them, Judas is going to do something pretty sneaky and shady? We don't know what they were talking about. It doesn't tell us here. There's nowhere in the scriptures anywhere that tells us what they were talking about. But these 3, Peter, James, and John, knew what they were talking about. They were talking in front of them. As far as we could tell, they understood the language that Jesus and the 2 prophets were speaking. But I'm only emphasizing this because here's an example right here. We have a little bit of information that the 2 prophets from heaven came to earth, talked to Jesus in front of these 3 men, but we don't know what they said. And I know I've heard other people say that everything there is to know about God is right here in this book. That's not true. It's everything that we are supposed to know about God. But there's so much more that we don't know. And this is why we really need to stay humble, because we do not fully understand everything that God is doing. We're supposed to be faithful. That's what faith is all about, is to believe even when you don't understand. And I'm just making that point because if we believe that this happened, this supernatural thing happened right there in front of Peter, James, and John with Jesus, and we have this conversation, we believe that Jesus is the Son of God and that there is a God who audibly spoke out in the middle of all this, enough to have them fall on their face, that God is a lot bigger than the box that we want to put him in. That's what I'm saying. And to be humble and realize, just in the vast scheme of things, we're these tiny little things that in the big picture may be insignificant, but also in the big picture, this mighty God knows us personally, intimately, way better than we know him. Way better. Let's carry on. In verse 9, now they came down from the mountain. Jesus commanded them, saying, tell the vision to no one until the Son of Man is risen from the dead. So they have to keep this a secret. I don't know how they did it, because that's a lot. That was a lot. I don't know if I could have done it. And maybe that's why only the three of them were allowed to be there, is because they were the three that were able to keep their mouths shut. I don't know. But that's what they were told to do. And Jesus and his disciples asked him, saying, why then do the scribes say Elijah must come first? And Jesus answered and said to them, indeed, Elijah is coming first and will restore all things. But I say to you that Elijah has come already, and they did not know him, but did to him what they wished. Likewise, the Son of Man is also about to suffer at their hands. And then the disciples understood that he spoke to them of John the Baptist. So John the Baptist was Elijah, and they didn't get it. Remember, he was saying, prepare the way, and y'all need to stop sinning. And look what happened to John. It was not pretty. So, and then he says, likewise, the Son of Man is about to suffer at their hands. He knew what was going to happen. So it's possible that they were telling him, details about his crucifixion. I don't know. I'm just speculating. I really don't know, and none of us knows. And maybe one day that'll be one of the things when we're with God that he'll explain to us other details that haven't been revealed yet. That's a possibility. I don't know. So we're in verse 14. And when they came to the multitude, a man came to him, kneeling down to him and saying, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he's an epileptic and suffers severely, for he often falls into the fire and often into the water. So I brought him to your disciples, but they could not cure him. And then Jesus answered and said, O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I bear with you? Bring him here to me. And Jesus rebuked the demon, and it came out of him, and the child was cured from that very hour. Then the disciples came to Jesus privately and said, why could we not cast it out? So Jesus said to them, because of your unbelief, for surely I say to you, if you have faith like a mustard seed, then you will say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you. However, this kind does not go out except by prayer and fasting. Verse 22. Now while they were staying in Galilee, Jesus said to them, the Son of Man is about to be betrayed into the hands of men, and they will kill him, and the third day he will be raised up. And they were exceedingly sorrowful. Verse 24. When they had come to Capernaum, those who received the temple tax came to Peter and said, does your teacher not pay the temple tax? And he said, yes. And when they came to the house, Jesus anticipated him, saying, what do you think, Simon? From whom do the kings of the earth take customs or taxes, from their sons or from strangers? Peter said to him, from strangers. And Jesus said to him, then the sons are free. Nevertheless, lest we offend them, go to the sea, cast in a hook, and take the fish that comes up first. And when you open its mouth, you will find a piece of money. Take that and give it to them for me and for you. So he's going to go ahead and pay his taxes.